Good evening, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. We're just getting started with the Tuesday Night Showdown. I am your boy B Train, and tonight, no Mark Zombie, but we are joined by the ever elusive Headcaster Jason. Woo! How's it going?
Elusive because I'm just everywhere.
True.
You never know where you're gonna find me, where I'm gonna pop up. Here I am.
You are everywhere. You've casted how many series tonight already?
This is gonna be my third, so you might just be getting started, but I am warmed up and ready to go tonight.
Oof. You're gonna have to carry this. You're hot and ready. You're like Little Caesar's Pizza. We called in for it, and you were just here. You were ready to go. We didn't even have to set up the camera. Yeah, 5 minutes was all we needed. We got you in here in the call. The camera was set up. It was ready. So we actually have a very interesting series starting off with the map picks and bans, which I want to go ahead and get into because I'm not sure when this lobby is gonna pop, but with Dragonshire and Battlefield of Eternity banned, we're going to Sky Temple for our first game. And that's
Sky Temple, very interesting map to start things out on. This is the second series tonight for me that's going to start on Sky Temple, which is kind of strange in and of itself, but a really cool map that's pretty much dictated a lot by global mechanics and rotations. So that's what we see a lot of people prioritize here. Wave clear, of course, is important on every map, but I find here that it's more pertaining to clearing out the camps when you have extra pushes there. And one thing we see a lot on this map is Abathur, because the mule can get a lot of extra value here with the way the map objective works.
Yeah, absolutely. Mule is broken here. Like, I will actually use the word broken. Abathur's the only character with Mule in the game. I'm honestly still surprised that he has it after his most recent retooling of his kit and how it works. It gets lots of value. This is also one of the few maps where you don't ever have to fight, but you can also win every objective and lose because of that boss pit. The boss pit on this map is like one of the most notorious throw pits in all of Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, and it's weird because you mentioned there's not a whole lot of team fighting requirements here, but that can be a way for people to try and force is looking at actually forcing on that boss and trying to force the enemy team to come fight you. So there's not a whole lot of other ways to force people to fight if you've got a talent tier that you're trying to get a fight in before the enemy team levels up into a new one. But the boss is one of those, especially in the late game. And the way it's constructed, easy access from both sides, multiple angles for people to try to come in from. And you can never count out the tornado troll factor. That tornado will sometimes come in and just ruin everything for one side.
Especially your DPS, because like a lot of the boss fights that you see won or lost, it's one of those things where you get it down to like the last 10%, and then everybody's like, oh no, the other team's here, we gotta fight. And honestly, if the team that was originally on the boss that had the grounds just focused on burning the boss, then they might have been all right. But then you have that one DPS who gets pushed literally to Africa by the tornado, and then your tank goes forward to zone, and nobody's on the pad. And then as a caster, you're just watching this, and you're like, oh no, it's happening. And then 9 people die, the Murky gets the boss, and blue team wins. So it's one of the most unfair feeling boss pits at times because outside of Warhead Junction with the RNG of the basically the little poison blobs that come out of the swarm hosts, it's one of those boss pits where it's just always random as what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and you got a lot of different random boss models in the game. Of course, Alterac Pass has the one that's just completely useless. Cursed Hollow has those ones are they feel kind of balanced. They get good value, not too risky because they're kind of open. But the one that shares this model, it's the same model as the one in Tomb of the Spider Queen, and that's another just famous throw pit boss area. So they got those in common on these maps. And I would be surprised if we don't see the boss come in as a factor at some point here for who wins this matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And just out of curiosity, I want to check the schedule because it looks like one of the teams is currently in a brawl. So I want to make sure we had the right start time. We might not have. No, it says.
Oh no, we've got it. And there's the lobby invite too.
Oh my goodness! Wait, you got a lobby invite? I didn't.
Well, okay, it was put in the NGS
Oh,
channel, but
okay.
yeah, I got the inside tracks.
All right, cool. I got you. Yeah, so for me, it says that Black and Avian is in a brawl right now. So I was looking at it. I was like, wait
He
a
may
minute,
well have been.
what? I was like, why are you in a brawl right now, bro? That's not where you're supposed to be.
You're on the Tuesday night showdown. Get out of that
You
brawl.
better get in here. Also, the best name in NGS is in this game. I just want to
Hmm.
point that out. The best player name in the entire league. On it looks like Azmo carry. Let's see if you can spot it. I think you already know who it is.
Yeah. It's been made into a great meme from Turd Herder, which I love.
Yes.
Good old I make da poopy.
I make the poopy indeed. So
Don't we all?
everybody does, man. There's a book about it. All right, I've read it. It was
There's
a
a book.
huge part of
I
my
read it
childhood.
in high school or something. No.
In high school. Whoa, I thought you knew by then. Oh man, the cat just taking over the stream.
This one, she loves it. She loves her camera time.
Hey,
She'll be
everybody's gonna
back.
have it. If you had another camera just for your cat, we put that up for another place. It's the
Ah,
NGS mascot.
that's kind of already been done. And she doesn't sit around like Bandit does for good
For,
old
yeah.
Bahamut. So it doesn't really work for me, but we'll see if we can figure something out.
So, I don't think we have any analysts with us tonight to discuss any of the craziness that we'll see from these teams, but in chat we have Time for Meat from Big Doodoo Head. And if that is I Make Da Poopy, a lot of interesting account names, so hopefully, if Butcher is a possibility here, I would love to see it. The crazy games are always the best games to cast. When you get those Vikings picks, when you have 5 melee, stuff like that. Those are always way more interesting. If you want to go with the actual meta, fine, I understand. But personally, the way to my heart is with wacky stuff.
Yeah, and you see a lot more of that here in Div D than you will in any other division because at the end of the day, I think a lot of what determines the wins or losses is more about like who's better on certain heroes, who can surprise the other team, and then who plays with the most overall team synergy. A lot of times, you won't find the meta picks having as much value and influence on the outcome in Div D as you will say in the upper divisions, where those players are going to be a little more versatile and able to play pretty much anything to a high level.
Yeah, when we look at Division S games, which I've had the pleasure of casting a couple of, there's pretty much three heroes that are like 100% permabanned, and that's Maiev, Zeratul, and Abathur, who on this map is pretty fantastic. And Samuro has honestly had an insanely big influence on Division S. So sometimes you have to target ban heroes like that, but in Division D, a lot of people don't look at the meta in the same way, and so they put a lot more time into heroes that aren't as quote unquote meta. Wait, what? Oh man,
Yeah, we're ready to go. We've
I'm,
been ready.
I'm apparently the lobby host. I'm apparently the lobby host.
Since when? You didn't even know this lobby existed a minute ago.
Didn't know. So okay, well, with that being said, but like I was saying, a lot of teams that have players that really put their time into like more oddball heroes, they have a lot bigger chance to shine. There's a couple players who play things like Ragnaros and Chen and stuff like that can really just change how a game plays because sometimes people don't know how to play against such heroes. So I think that's why we see a lot more target banning in the lower divisions here in NGS.
Yeah, and if you've got a hero that you're level 4 500 on, we saw like a target ban last night onto a sub that had come in with a level 500 Gazlo. Like I don't know how somebody plays enough to get to a level 500 Gazlo, but if somebody's played that much, you don't want to see that on the other side. It's worth one of these early bans. But starting out early, Johanna could be the first ban out here for Azmo carry, so pretty standard for them, and not surprised to see her come out as she's one of the most popular tanks in the current meta.
Yeah, I think a first ban on her is kind of interesting because it either A, just shows that you have done research and maybe the other tank has a very limited hero pool. Two, that you want to go into some kind of auto attack oriented comp. or three that she just poses issues to your team. But as far as actual bans, I like the Abathur here. Extremely meta on the map, absolute fantastic utility for the early game and the late game here. And Abathur's often weakness is his early game, but on maps like Sky Temple, it's very hidden. So pretty interesting ban. And we see another. I say warrior because I'm stuck in my ways, but another tanky character banned out from Azmo carry. So targeting the front line.
Yeah, I mean, main tank Imperius is definitely not heard of. His strength usually in the off lane, but he's pretty versatile overall. So I do like that ban out from Asmo carry, but it makes me think they might be targeting something as a first pick here that's countered by Imperius, which would make me think Diablo might be their target here for their first pickup.
Diablo, pretty much always one of those early pickup tanks. And the Jaina ban from Pigeon Stitches tells me that either someone's really good at Jaina or they're looking to go a tank like Garrosh or Arthas, someone who has a hard time making those engages. As we see Brightwing coming up, she's good for boss pit control, which is a fantastic global. And not committing to the Diablo yet, but a Nubarak and Al. Okay, so the Arak combo is something that's been around for a while. Shout outs
Yeah.
to one of my old teammates for showing me this. Gatama, he was always about the Arak, and it's quite lethal CC and stun chain.
Yeah, tons and tons of CC and dive potential. That web wrap is just so strong. We've seen a new Barak get better and better. And the kind of the hidden value with the new Barak is the additional siege pressure, being able to spawn more minions to be able to soak up some of those tower shots, especially now in a world where it's just endless ammo. They never run out. And so having something to soak those is important. But we're going to see Thrall and Blaze on the other side. Interesting beginning to a front line because I don't see a main tank there at all to start this off, but kind of two bruisers to kind of hold that front line a little bit.
So, Blaze, honestly, I consider a main tank and a bruiser. He's extraordinary as both. That I know is a target ban, by the way, because last time I casted Asmo Carry, Poopy was playing Arthas, I'm pretty sure both games. But Blaze, I feel like, is one of the true. You can honestly first pick him every draft. Like there's obviously better heroes, but you can first pick him any draft. And if he turns out that you need him in the solo lane, that's fine. If he turns out you need him as a main tank, that's fine. He has a fantastic engage. His E ability stuns like a dragon arrow from Hanzo, and it's on a 10-second cooldown, not 70. He has lots of slows. He has self sustain. I think the main problem is he's kind of like a Diablo or a noob. Once you go in, you got to commit to that fight because that's his only form of engage or disengage for that matter.
Yeah, he does have the bunker to at least try to sustain him in there a little bit, but the Arthas band coming out from Pigeon Stitches says that they still think a main tank is coming after those picks. But we will see Junkrat and Tyrande picked up here. So Tyrande going to be an amazing follow-up for CC from what is already a heavy CC front line in Anubarak and Alarak. Meanwhile, Junkrat also very good at the isolative tools, being able to use that concussion mine to displace somebody, especially in the early game. He gets that tool right from level 1, so massive amounts of displacement here from Pigeon Stitches.
Yeah, and Sylvanas is going to be the pickup for Asmo carry. Not sure if it is going to be I make the poopy on that hero. We always see the swaps at the end of drafts, but they have effectively taken care of what I thought was going to be their biggest issue with their last two locks. If I looked at the comp of Junkrat and Alarak, those two heroes scale very well to the late game. Anubarak has a strong early game to make up for kind of the lack thereof with those two heroes. And on the other side, Sylvanas and Muradin scale fantastically into the late game as well. They match the wave clear potential, and you have that range damage coming through finally with Sylvanas because Thrall, as much as he can do with the lightning, the chain lightning ability, it doesn't really come online as a high damage spell until 16. So I think they've really kind of touched up my main concerns as Dahaka comes out as the last pick for Pigeon Stitches.
Yeah, so they're going to answer a little bit of that global pressure that can come in from the Brightwing. Dahaka, of course, also a little bit more ideal to have out on an island with his solo potential there in those solo lane situations, but can still always dig in. There's a lot of good brush locations on this map, so definitely a strong pickup there to close out the comp here for Pigeon Stitch.
Yeah, and we're loading into game number 1. I've already forgotten what Slaughter Observer is in, but I'm just going to wing it and pray to God that I get the right one. As tonight we are joined yet again by Falendrith, our top-notch observer who promises that we'll focus on the map instead of the fights this game. I'm excited.
Yeah, we want to see where that camera's going to go for those maps. But either way, here we go into the match.
On the left for the team in the blue, it is Pigeon Stitches. We have Black and Avian on the Dahaka, Fox on the Alarak, Killer Fry on the Anubarak, Deaf Child Area on Junkrat, and Slava on Tyrande.
And on the right, we've got A-Dubs playing the Blaze. We've got Showstoppa on the Thrall. Blank Eclipse going to be playing the Muradin. I Make Da Poopy on Sylvanas. And A Connect on the Brightwing.
And looking at level 1 talents, nothing really sticking out to me. I'm glad to get Unfurling Shadows from Sylvanas. Infinite stacking damage quest. Fantastic scaling once she gets that level 7 with the Festering Wound on her Banshee Wave. It'll apply the 3 stacks that she needs once she starts auto-attacking to spread those stacks and really starts coming online in that early mid-game. Junkrat's going to go with the distance, pretty meta. Loon's Chosen, always a fantastic talent. Beetles from Anubarak, so no Globe Quest, looking to get the spell armor on the Beetles. And everything else looking pretty normal to me.
Yeah, one talent I would pick up there, or point out there, is the Greater Polymorph coming in for Brightwing at level 1. So increased 30% range, and hero takedowns will refresh the cooldown of Polymorph. So pretty interesting. You know, usually we'll see on big maps like this the reduction on the actual teleport ability, but instead looking for more CC, which kind of goes well with the Shadow Dagger build coming in from Sylvanas, which is going to provide some extra burst with all of this CC coming out from Azmo carry.
B-Step gang stepping up, but Pigeon Stitches A-Dubs got the spray game on lock. I believe that was A-Dubs with that spray. As I liked the positioning of Killer Fry. We saw it kind of in that beginning phase, sitting in that right side bush, really controlling the rotations, keeping vision for his team. And on a team with a Tyrande, who has the global owls for vision, Black and Avian is actually just boosting the B-Step numbers out here. We're going to have to get some disqualifications out. Because this
Someone call Nexus Edge. We need to know what these stats are going to look like.
These are ridiculous. He's going to beat me by the end of this game. But I think the Greater Polymorph, the increased range is probably the most iconic thing, or the most important thing out of that pick. As if Blank Eclipse wants to go just super hop-happy on the Muradin, and if you're leaping in with that Dwarf Toss to get those Sledgehammer stuns, Brightwing won't have the ability to get up there to get that poly off without having Greater Poly at 1. So she'll be able to poly from a much safer distance and kind of help her team secure those kills, which will be fantastic.
Yeah, that kind of reset mechanic also will be really interesting to see. But one thing I've noticed, 0 Shadow Dagger stacks from that level 1 so far. They're finally getting a few in the mid, but I kind of like that call from Pigeon Stitches so far. Not fighting, not allowing Sylv to build that up. Kind of reminds me of the strategy you would employ against, say, like a Kel'Thuzad.
Yeah, exactly. And we saw that... oh, wow, triple flare. Good golly. Slava kind of taking a minute to step back and kiss themselves there with 4 stacks on flare already. At like a 200% accuracy rate, if we're going to be honest. And the first temples are spawning, and a strategy we see a lot coming through in like mostly the Korean divisions of HCC is Killer Fry taking lots of damage from Sylvanas, which is one of the things I was going to point out. With such a low HP tank, Sylvanas is just going to shred through that. But we saw both the camps in the bottom get taken, and right now Dahaka is not sitting bottom to get that global soak in, which is kind of a misuse of globals in my opinion. But if they do win this fight, which it looks like they will after the great CC chain onto Sylvanas, all the damage is now gone for Azmo carry, and they're just going to have to back up and lick their wounds.
Yeah, it seemed like Sylv was trying to step up a little bit there to try and get some stacks. Did get some out of that exchange, but unfortunately having to give up their life for that, which is not exactly a trade you want to make. But first blood going over to Pigeon Stitches there to start off our showdown.
Yeah, and since Azmo carry tried to do the dozy do and dust off on that middle temple, Junkrat is now bottom. The entirety of the shots went to... The entirety of the shots went to Pigeon Stitches, so now they're stealing shots from the other objective while Junkrat is soaking, and if nobody dies here, that is a fantastic trade for them, as they're up over half a level right now.
Right. This is a moment where Azmo carries really got to try to push the issue. But I don't know if that's what their comp's really meant to do. We do see the CC coming out early here. Killer Fry actually going to get hit by the main temple keeper there, put completely out of place, and that's going to be a big kill going over for Azmo carry. But you mentioned it. Is this worth it with the splits, though? Because they go in, they'll get Black and Avian as well. 2 for nothing. Makes that a decent trade. They'll get the rest of these temple shots. But they really got to get back out in the lane here for Azmo carry.
And I fear now with level 7s online, we're not going to see Sylvanas stack as much as she needs to. Going with the reduction on the dagger is cool and all, but stepping up into an Anub Tyrande Alarak to get auto attacks off is going to be probably the hardest thing that anyone is going to have to do this game. And without having that ability to throw your Banshees out and get the 3 stacks that you need to auto and get a couple here and there, I don't know if that's going to stack as impressively. But during that entire top exchange, Alarak actually completed Extended Lightning, got the entire the 3-man, so got full rewards for that, and is already sitting on 21 stacks of negatively charged.
Yeah, so right now Pigeon Stitch is scaling a little bit better to start this off, but I like that point you make is Blank Eclipse going to be able to dwarf toss away, but with the Sylvanas, you'd almost rather see the Q build come out at 1 and 7 if you're not going to commit to the Festering Wounds talent at 7. There's a point that I'm kind of stealing from Ryokai in that Nextperts video, but the Haunting Wave is a tool that you want to use for escape. So I understand why you wouldn't want to take Festering Wounds, but if you're going to do that, you might as well just commit to the AA build and get that extra damage that way.
Yeah, and we've seen with her new rework a lot of good lick, by the way, from Black and Avian, but getting a couple stacks there is Sylvanas. We see that talent at 13 that Sylvanas can get where she throws one wave, when you teleport to it, you get a reset, and you get another one, which has led to quite possibly some of the most unsafe aggressive plays from such a squishy hero that I've ever seen. But the amount of damage she does is actually ludicrous, and with 10 advantage for just a moment, it looks like Pigeon Stitches wants to just snatch this camp up real quick.
Yeah, then Showstopper coming in and is going to be able to get the CC out. Counter-Strike on top of that. Massive hit there from the Junkrat on the Riptire. Everybody hitting the R buttons at this point. Combustion gonna blow up in the middle of all of this. So many members low from Azmo carry, though. A little bit of a cleanup duty here for Pigeon Stitches. So they are gonna find the telekinesis from Fox there. And Alarak with the 3 kills in that exchange for just the Anubarak on the other side.
Yeah, and Thrall never locked in an ult there, nor did Brightwing, which actually could have impacted that fight so much. As we get Playmaker from Muradin, Sundering, and Combustion. So 2 things that displace people and someone who doesn't want people displaced with Combustion. So we'll see if there's any anti-synergy coming online, as we also have Mind Control.
Mind Control, yeah, crazy. More standard over on the side of Pigeon Stitches, though. Isolation, Counter-Strike, Web Wrap, Riptire, and Shadow Stalk. So they're playing a little bit more of the standard game, but we'll see if the members of Azmo carry can find these isolated targets that they really want here to get some picks. And you see right there, the first Mesmerize goes out. Kind of a high cooldown for it, too, but it is a skill shot. Web Wrap going down onto the Brightwing on the backside. And Sylvanas is going to end up paying with her life for that engage, and Deconnect also going to go down coming out of that cocoon.
Interesting counter synergy that I want to point out. While that was a fantastic play and engage, Junkrat stealing stacks away from Slava's Tyrande. Riptire knocked him out of the Lunar Flare, so wasn't able to get a stack. There's no real impact from that ultimately to this point, but I just thought it was funny to point out. And after that Mind Control whiff, we saw the immediately turn around and engage, as I believe Thrall was still not here, and they had 5 top. So a 5v4, they were able to just take it instantly, and it worked out fantastically.
Meanwhile, camp being stolen here by Pigeon Stitches, so they're going to go ahead and have a little bit of extra pressure here in the top. They do have level 13 as well right now, so Azmo carry kind of looking to split out a little bit and soak. The defense is going to have to be up here in the top lane, though, as there's just a massive amount of pressure onto this keep.
Yeah, Sunder's going to come out after the Blaze charge. It's kind of splitting the entire team, but Junkrat not even here. So Pigeon Stitches isn't even fully committing to this. It's kind of a front as they've taken down all the outer defenses of Azmo carry and sitting up about a level and a half, not quite 2 levels as far as the indicator shows, though. And the thing about Sky Temple is when you're up by this much on the map, you can play keep away forever. You never have to fight. And anytime there's an objective on the map, if there's only a single one, if Asmo Carry comes to contest, then you just have Junkrat and Dahaka, who with Ripper Air now are basically both globals, to an extent at least for Junkrat. They can just split off and push the other lanes and just force you to respond elsewhere. So you have to pick, do we take the temple or do we give up top keep? You know, which is it?
Here comes the engage onto Black and Avian. They're looking to try and find some kind of engagement, but a huge combo coming in on the other side from Alarak, and it's going to be Blaze that goes down first. Showstopper also deep in there, going to be taken down by a combo of the boss and Pigeon Stitch's damage, and now they can just turn around and grab the boss here.
Yeah, and they don't have the best wave clear or racing potential on the side of Pigeon Stitches, but with Sundering out of the way, Thrall's dead, with no Emerald Wind from Brightwing, Blaze not going bunker, the only displacement on the point would in fact be Playmaker, and that only moves one person depending on the angle that you hit. So not a lot of boss control from Asmo Carry, despite having a comp that otherwise with normal or more normalized picks would have had excellent boss control.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do have Asmo Carry trying to commit to fighting here, but you mentioned it earlier. This is something that Pigeon Stitches can just play slow. They know they don't have to engage on this. They're already getting one of the temples in bot, and they are actually able to still push back Asmo Carry as they have every lane pushing, camps in the bot lane, and Pigeon Stitches is kind of rolling right now here on Sky Temple.
Yeah, Pigeon Stitches looking like a leak in a dam, where they apply pressure one place, when you try to plug it up, something else springs up. Getting both temples, the boss gets a keep. Right now they're collecting shots onto mid keep as well. Both temples are completed, and they're so far ahead right now, there's almost not a lot for them to do, but it looks like they're going to try to siege up this mid keep, even with Anubarak and Junkrat elsewhere.
Yeah, nice Lunar Flare coming and getting a few more stacks there for Slava. But again, Pigeon Stitches doesn't want to overstay. Again, they're in control of this map. So nice call to back up. They're going to see where Asmo Carry goes. As soon as they show on top, here they come back onto the mid keep, and they're going to look to confirm this.
Yeah, and with boss off the map, they can't get punished too hard for overstaying, but they can definitely still overstay as the Thrall is going to get hit by the cocoon, as Blaze is going to pop that combustion after the mind control onto Killer Fry, taking lots of damage, but into the back, Black and Avian is going to get hit by that Playmaker. Muradin is going to go down to the burrow charge, as Alarak getting a double combo out, but Sunder going to drop to Dahaka, and that is a 1-for-1 trade, as it looks like Showstopper after the Junkrat mine is going to also get dropped. 2-for-1, 16 still not online for Asmo Carry, and this I don't think they can end here. I don't think they have enough actual siege, but they're in such a fantastic position on this map right now. Pigeon Stitches can just kind of take their hands off the wheel and coast for a couple minutes.
Yeah, literally seeing pretty much all blue colors on this map. Killer Fry going to be able to burrow charge back to confirm this camp with the rest of the squad here. And yeah, now they can push in the top lane. Level 16 is here for Asmo Carry now, but they've still got 6 seconds on the Thrall. Isolation there onto Brightwing from another great combo from Fox. And, I'll tell you what, Alarak is definitely one of those characters that I've put in that category to look out. But Fox actually getting hit by the Mesmerize there, but not going to be quite enough to take him down. And again, on the retreat here is Asmo Carry.
Yeah, and we saw the combo coming out from the Arak bros, as Blaze is going to charge kind of deep there, going to get pulled in as well. And ultimately, Sylvanas stack's not going to be enough. She's only sitting at 76 on Shadow Dagger, and even committed to the double Haunting Wave at 16 or 13, which would have paired well with the 7 to help her stack more. So kind of an in-between build that so far hasn't scaled up super well. Obviously, playing from behind doesn't warrant a lot of chances to scale, but we saw there with the Brightwing pickoff next to that keep to start that entire engage. The Alarak pull into the silence, into the Anub stun, into the flare, into the burrow charge. The CC chain from Pigeon Stitches is real this game.
I mean, well, do you see the Sunder coming out? They're trying to chase down Killer Fry, trying to make something happen here for Azmo carry, but it's going to be too little too late. These shots are being confirmed onto the core, and that is going to be it. Game one, going to go over decisively to Pigeon Stitches.
Pigeon Stitches, looking good.
Hello.
We don't often, and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but we don't often see as good of macro from divisions like C and D. But Pigeon Stitches ran that map phenomenally. Their rotations were excellent. Their CC chains were just immaculate. They postured forward. They had an aggressive comp, and they knew it. They played on the front foot the entire game. And once they got the advantage, they never let it go. That map was just kind of like a constrictor, like Python, just slowly sucking the life out of Asmo carry, who weren't able to climb back in. And that's honestly one of the better macro controls that I've seen on Sky Temple, and I'm super stoked. And hopefully, if they continue that in the next game, they look scary.
Yeah, and you mentioned the macro play, not only in literally their rotations and their camp grabs, which were really good, but also just their control over when to fight, when not to fight. You know, just a great overall sense of how to push their advantages, when to push, and Asmo Carry just didn't really seem to have an answer for that. So, you know, we haven't seen a whole lot of Pigeon Stitches this season. Unfortunately, they've been one of those teams that haven't been casted as much, but they're on a double feature this week for the Showdown, and you can't start it any better than that game.
No, yeah, they did fantastic, and I think you nailed something really good there as well. They're choosing when to fight and when not to fight. They could have forced so many things and probably been okay, um, but they didn't. They chose to back off, which is truly, I think, the mark of a team with trust and good comms and good synergy, is the ability to like something that seems like such a given. The ability to, as a team, just look at it and say, you know what, we can wait. And I think that's a fantastic thing, as we have our next map selected, and we're going to Alterac Pass.
Ooh. There's another kind of patient style map. If there was any one map I was going to pick that is kind of similar to Sky Temple, you know, this map kind of reminds me a little bit of it in terms of that, you know, the map objectives, while they are strong to be able to win them, you don't have to really be in a big hurry to them. We see a lot of teams prioritize the camps or the soak or other things over these objectives a lot of time. And another massive map from top to bottom, probably one of the biggest maps to rotate on here. So global's still a really big priority here. And then it all does kind of come down to the team fighting, though, on this map, which is a little bit of a difference. That at some point you got to go team fighting, where Sky Temple, you can play a little bit more of the PvE style a lot of the time.
Yeah, we see on this map, wave clear is fantastic to have, but you have to be able to team fight as well. I think if I have to like attribute this map to a couple different ones, I would kind of pair it almost kind of like a Warhead Junction style. But as far as the objective is concerned, it functions similarly to like Cursed Hollow, but one at a time instead of three. So, and what I mean by that is you have an absolutely humongous map. You have a top lane boss, you have a bottom lane boss. They're both in the neutral, not one safe spawn for each team. And so we see teams, the bosses on this map aren't as impactful. One of the weaker bosses in the game. And typically to end on this map, you need to have two keeps down, unless you're just getting a crazy damage team together. Because the keeps provide armor to the core, which will automatically heal itself if you don't finish it off. So it's one of those maps where, if you commit and it does end up in just some amazing core defense, to add insult to injury, now it goes back to full health.
Yeah, these cores are really scary. I saw a team earlier in one of my previous sets that had 5-0 wiped the other team, had about 30 seconds on their kill counters. So, it was late in the game. It was like level 19 or 20. They still elected to go and kill the second keep before going into the core. They could finish the core at that point, but they were like, we don't want to fight this thing with 40% armor. Let's go ahead and take another keep.
Yeah,
and
that
make sure we secure the core because that thing is scary.
yeah, that thing looking like the old Fury Warriors popping berserker stance and hitting the whirlwind. It just does a
Yeah.
lot of damage. It clears waves. It hits your whole team. It has a slam mechanic, I believe, like bosses do. It's impeccable to fight, and the fact that it targets players and it will come out to you the minute you hit that little edge around like the boss arena. It rushes to your team. So if you're trying to play back with some range, it will come to your ranged heroes as well. So it's truly unique, and it's one of those things where split push pressure in the early game is fantastic to have. You know, if you want to control lanes early, but losing an objective late game can just completely flip the entire look of the map.
Yeah, because it pressures equally in every lane, it's really difficult to defend. You know, it's kind of like playing rock paper scissors. If you split up and they target down one lane, they can easily take that all the way to core in a late game objective. But if you commit to one lane and they split up, you could end up losing, you know, two, three keeps. It's very hard. Vision control here can be your best friend in terms of scouting and knowing what the enemy team's doing so you can respond appropriately.
Yeah, and map vision globals, fantastic things, and we've already seen priority on those. We've seen Tyrande, Brightwing, Dahaka, all really fantastic like map control slash vision heroes that you can have. And Pigeon Stitches did a fantastic job using their globals, especially with the Junkrat with Ripper Air. A lot of people don't recognize how much mobility he actually has with that. It's quite insane. He can just traverse the map at almost the speed of an actual global. So that's one of the things to watch out for. And he has, you know, impeccable wave clear. He scales well. As we're going to see the Johanna band coming back out from Azmo carry, not wanting to deal with that hero at all. And Pigeon Stitches, who played Alarak, choose to ban it.
Well, they don't have first pick this time around, so they may have scouted that somebody over on the side of Asmo Carry also likes to play the Alarak, and it you know, it's one of those heroes. You know, I would put it in the same category as Maiev, Zeratul, Samuro, these heroes that have a very high skill ceiling, and if the enemy team's got a really good one on their squad and you don't know how to counter it, it's something you really don't want to play against. It's worth that ban.
They didn't have first pick last game either, though. Brightwing was the first pickup for Decon for Asmo carry. So they let it through once. Maybe there was some banter between players saying, "Yo, you think you were good? Watch this."
Watch this.
I know I
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
watch this.
I talk a lot between my games as we're gonna see Anubarak getting through again. We see Abathur getting through again. Dahaka, Junkrat, also making it through this draft. Tyrande, so not really banning a lot of the problem childs, but A-Dubs says you can play the Beetle, I can play the Beetle too.
Yeah, and that might be a turning point kind of hero in this game number two. And Uberak is just so good, very popular in the current meta. And we're going to see the Jaina in response here. So a little bit of burst damage on top of that, but a little bit countered in some ways by a Nubarak before that ice block comes in. If the dive is good on Jaina, she'll blow up just as well as any backliner.
So Jaina was also banned game one. I can't remember who by, but I absolutely love beyond the question of a doubt. I don't even know if that's the phrase, but I love the Jaina Deckard pairing.
Yeah.
Stay a while or Lornado both work fantastically for the map, but if you take like Stay a While and then Ring, oh my god, that's so much damage. The CC potential is phenomenal. Deckard just synergizes with Jaina from level 1 with the roots, with the triangles, for her blizzard combos and stuff like that. But on the other side, we see Anubarak has spell armor, Brightwing has spell armor. They both have unstoppables or cleanses, mobility. Blaze can get Juggernaut plating at 13 or 16, I believe, which is spell armor and healing is on the back end. So looking to secure their front line and their support and leaving all of their damage flexible is Asmo carry.
By the way, B-Train, maybe we can be trendsetters here and come up with a name for this combo. How about stay a while, and if you like it, you can put a ring on it?
Ooh. I think that's a mouthful though. Like a rack
Yeah,
is like really.
little too long. That's true.
Hmm.
Anyway, the Rain are going to be banned out for the side of Pigeon Stitches, so not wanting to see that constant damage come in the Lost Vikings. You mentioned it. This is the division where we see these kind of things come out, but going to be taken out here by Azmo Carry.
Hmm. I'm still thinking of names for the combo. Like now I'm gonna be stuck on that because like all I can think of now is stay a while. Has a nice ring to it. As I wanted to shout out in between games, Black and Avian with the Twitch Prime sub to NGS. Mucho appreciado. I don't speak Spanish, but holy sweet Jesus, we have a Maev.
That's one of those problem heroes, and if your team plays it well, it can be really good. But she is kind of a difficult hero to play, especially into a lot of CC. Cocoon could definitely become a factor in this matchup. But Fox played an excellent Alarak here, and I find that a lot of the players that play the Maiev, Zeratools, Alaraks, a lot of those skills kind of shift through those similar kind of heroes.
So I look right now at these two comps, and Maiev is just fantastic into Chromie Sylvanas. I feel like she can get onto the backline, pull him in. You have so much damage, you just delete him instantly. But Maiev doesn't do well into 3 hard stuns and a poly. Right. So, like, she's good into 1cc because she can vault it, and we've seen players use vault to dodge things like even Cocoon. So you're trading,
iframing,
you're it's an iframe, it's an invulnerable. So you can dodge 1, but you can't dodge 4. So that's gonna be something we'll have to look out for. And with Diablo, Dahaka too beefy, or Diablo especially being more beefy than a Nubarak, maybe this game Sylvanas will be able to stack a little bit more early than last game. Maybe it'll be a little easier for her.
Also, B-Train, don't forget to give Pigeon Stitches their point.
You know what? I honestly had noticed it the moment you said it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I looked at my.
That's perfect. We were in sync.
Yeah, I looked at my my OBS when I was switching the overlays, and I was like, wait a minute, something's not right. That was ridiculous. Also, I'm assuming I've already forgotten now. I'm assuming it's slot 3 for our observer. Oh my goodness, I'm terrible at this thing. We're gonna try it. We're gonna wing it here.
Alendrith got you. He'll let you know.
Yeah, hopefully. As we're getting in to... Oh no, I think I've goofed. Alright, we got the B-steps coming through for the team on the left, and it is 3, so I'm working on it. As on the left, for Pigeon Stitches, we have Fox on Maiev, Slava on Deckard Cain, Killer Fry on the Diablo, Deaf Child area on Jaina, and Black and Avian on the Dahaka, again, getting them B-step numbers up.
And on the right, Azmo Carry, looking to take this to a game 3. We've got A-dubs on the Anubarak. Not A-Connect, but D-Connect on the Brightwing. Showstopper on the Chromie. I Make Da Poopy on the Sylvanas. And Blank Eclipse going to be playing the Blaze.
And looking at the level 1s coming out, we have Jaina actually holding on. We are going to see the tethered build onto Maiev. By the way, Bonds of Justice will synergize very well at 16. Going to get the early combo in onto a noob, taking so much of that HP. A-Dub's hitting the short burrow charge on the way out and gets hit by the back door. And that's first blood in 30 seconds. Pigeon Stitches wasting no time. And just like that, both teams going to split off and get this soak in.
Yeah, interesting call for the Jaina holding here. I can't think of a reason why you would want to hold on the Jaina level 1. No matter what it's going to be, whether it's the increased slows, especially the Globe, which they've already missed 1, now coming on 2 if it ends up being the Globe quest, or the extended range, all of them are useful at level 1. I can't see a reason to save it. But either way, it looks like right now, pretty standard across the board from what I've seen. There's going to be that extra essence. But D-Connect in all kinds of trouble. What a rotation coming in here from Pigeon Stitches. Not only getting that first blood, we're going to go ahead and pick them up a second one here on that rotation.
A live look. I actually just got this in. A live look at what went through Deacon's mind. Okay, they're ganking me. There's a slow. I'm okay. There's a tether. I'm okay. There's a pull. I'm okay. Charge. Flip. Stun. That's a lot of CC coming out from Pigeon Stitches. They line it up very well. They don't overlap it. That's the main thing I think we see between teams in that kind of makes or breaks them in divisions like C and D is using 5 CC abilities and timing them perfectly is the difference between getting kills and winning a fight and getting them and losing a fight. As Jaina finally picks up the Globe Quest after missing at least 3 or 4, and is going to continue to go into that Ice Lance build, and we get Blade Dance, pretty typical from Maiev, but we're getting Hero Stalker this game from Dahaka, and I don't know if that's what we saw last game.
Yeah, full poly build coming in again from D-Connect. And we do see a little bit of pressure up here on Black and Avian, but he's still just B-stepping away, having a good time up here in the top lane.
Absolute sidestep king, looking like Prince. Black and Avian is pretty much 1v3ing out of his mind top lane. Or 1v2ing, excuse me. What would have made that better is if you got the turn lick onto Blaze, pulled him into towers, got some free damage. But beggars can't be choosers. If looking at Chromie, we're going to go ahead and surpass my pet nickname for her because this is a family-friendly show. But we have the world's most annoying level 18 talent as, Jaina. Please not like this. Ooh. Down goes Jaina, but the big double tether from Maiev into the 4-man Deckard combo, which is nullified by the Brightwing trait ability. A-Dub's going to get hit by the Licky Icky, and Burrow charges out to safety. Chromie, though, I wanted to point out Anderhall Anomaly. Basically, if you thought one time trap was annoying, guess what? Now there's 3. So she can basically leyline seal an area now with the way her time traps work. And that is, to me, just ridiculous.
Yeah, especially in a world where you're in a lot of corridors on this map. But D-Connect actually getting a bit isolated here. Is going to be taken down. Nice flip there from Killer Fry. Tongue onto I Make the Poopy as well. Is going to Haunting Wave out just in time. And there are a lot of these potions set up already for the members of Pigeon Stitches in this area. So it looks like they're pretty much ready to fight here if they want to go. But it looks like they're prioritizing grabbing level 7 first.
Yeah, level 7's pretty decent for Deckard. It provides him with Emeralds so you can nullify those humongous Brightwing heals, or Cube Mastery, which is probably the least picked of the 3. Emerald for the healing reduction. You take, I think it's Kanai's Cube for the damage reduction, which I believe is like 30% for 3 seconds. And then you take the cooldown reduction as Blaze. Oh, baby. That's going to be another kill onto Blank Eclipse. 4 kills to 1 and the objective cap. But we see the cooldown on Scroll of Sealing almost has identified done already, which gives the armor reduction. So looking to set up massive combos around Deckard Roots, which will pair well with things such as Maiev and Jaina. So their whole comp between, their support is a huge playmaker for Pigeon Stitches this game. That's going to be something to watch out for.
Yeah, picking up where they left off here in game number 1, Pigeon Stitches going to be pretty dominant in that fight over the map objective. They're going to be able to get their first set of these guys coming out, whose name I always forget on this side. I know the other side are Raiders. Can't remember what these guys' name are.
So yeah, you have the Raiders, and then these are just kind of like, they're like Mountaineers. That's basically what they are. They're the Iron Forge Mountaineers. But they're like generals or lieutenants or something like that. I don't know what the actual name is, but that aura that you see around the boss, or the objective, gives them movement speed and attack speed. Or not attack speed, but damage. Just damage in general, not ability specific. So heroes with like AoE things like Burning Rage or Arthas's Frozen Tempest, those ticking abilities are actually really powerful with this objective because it increases the amount of damage it does per tick. So where something that was a slow burn is now like a forest fire.
And there you go. And priority being put here by Pigeon Stitches on this bottom lane. They're pushing it in pretty nicely. Going to get a bit of damage here. The rewind going to come out, but Fox able to vault and avoid any damage from Showstopper there. Good overall defense, though. They're able to keep all of their forts alive. These first map objectives, though, not usually the strongest. You usually start to see forts going down around that second map objective, whoever ends up getting that.
Yeah, and looking into the Chromie, you mentioned it there. We see the TikTok as Black and Avian. You got to be careful, dog. This is risky business. You are playing.
He's just not worried.
You're absolutely stacking the living heck out of. You die.
Oh,
you actually die for that. That's what you get. That's what you get for B-stepping that still in lane while you fed her stacks out of the absolute.
I think he made the poopy right there.
You got poopied. That's what happened. The top lane matchup won by Sylvanas, who you should have B-stepped, by the way. That would have been the ultimate sign of dominance in top lane. As level 10s are coming in, like I was saying, I call it TikTok, because that's what it does. It TikToks and it time loops you back. TikTok isn't the one press button delete combo that it used to be. Chromie's not that hero anymore, but it does provide her with cooldown reduction. So if she cycles through a whole bunch of her stuff and then she pops the TikTok, it gives her, I want to get the actual number. Basic abilities cooldown 500% faster for 3 seconds. So basically it just takes everything off cooldown. As we see for Pigeon Stitches, the ISO, Stay a While, and Ring with Lightning Breath and Warden's Cage. So it's going to be it's going to be a hot and cold hell in a cell. That's what it's going to be. It's icy hot.
Icy hot. I love it. There's a lot of different names we can target this, but we do have the Chromie going down in the bot lane. Nice dive coming in from Pigeon Stitches. They know that they've got the tools to be able to jump in on that. And now we're going to see the next map objective coming up. I like the timing here coming out from Azmo Carry on their camp. And it's one of the phrases I always use for this map is, welcome to Alterac Pass, where it's all about the bruisers and the bosses don't matter.
I've never seen a boss get more value than an unattended bruiser camp on this map. So that is honestly true. Those bruisers with the armor reduction, they work, they're just gnolls, but they work like the Hellbats, or the Fire Bats from Brax's Holdout. But instead of only 2 of them, there are 3. So they're tanky, they eat damage well, and right now Pigeon Stitches is actually just letting their top lane get sieged down, but looking to possibly make an engage. Don't think they're going to get it. We see Combustion, TikTok, Emerald Wind this time, which I much prefer seeing. Emerald Wind, it's just a great disengage tool. You have Cocoon, you can isolate targets, you can control points with like Brightwing Bombs, and we get Mind Control again. And we didn't see it get much effect last game, but if it can land a couple times this game, we're going to see a lot of value out of that ult potentially, as the big combo comes in onto Avian, but the turnaround is here, and oh boy.
Ton of ring damage there, and also on the other side, a little bit of a stun out there by Slava with that sleep. Going to keep them from advancing any further, but it is Maiev that ends up going down first here. They're still trying to make this fight work, though. We do have the loop onto Black and Avian, but he's not going to feel that at all. And nice fight overall there by Pigeon Stitches.
Ring of Frost is dope, but Jaina can't drop any damage if she's cocooned, which we saw instantly a phenomenal cocoon. As hold on, the big bro charge onto 2 with the Blaze Stun to follow. Big damage coming out from Sylvanas onto Killer Fry. Down goes Diablo. Souls are reset, and they might not be done here if A-Dubs or Blaze has another stun. Black and Avian could follow. No B-steps coming out this time, but are going to make it out. In the turnaround from Fox, this could be trouble.
Yeah, we do see the cap by the members of Azmo Carry, so they're a little bit split there. Some members zoning out, maybe chasing, a couple members looking to cap, so they are going to get a little bit of a channel on that to start, but only going to get about half of it done. And I make the Boopy got to be very careful here. They're in deep against a team that's very good at diving.
And I don't think that Pigeon Stitches saw the Anubarak backing to base, as 13s are online for both teams now. If Pigeon Stitches would have seen Anubarak back there, or Blaze, I feel like they would have snap engaged on Chromie or Sylvanas, who were very vulnerable without a lot of tanky friends to be around them. So we see Deckard setting up the super potions, dummy thick potions, as we call them here in NGS. And they're just going to try to slow roast this and move forward. And their whole combo's back off CD, so...
Now there's the CC chain coming down right away, but the Polymorph is good in response. Trying to zone out Killer Fry. They do find the Emerald Wind as well, and what a fight coming out here from Azmo Carry. Make it 2, make it 3, and now on an island here is Death Child area. Definitely not going to make it out of this. 4-for-0 exchange as Azmo Carry coming out fighting here in game number 2, trying to get us to that game 3 dream.
Blank Eclipse, I saw you, okay? You're not slick. I watched you step in the mud pit. Okay, toxicity never slips by me. I'm the expert. I wanted to point out though in that fight is phenomenal. By the way, was the cocoon again from Adub on the Jaina. There's a lot of counter synergy going on. You get the big combo with Ring and Stay a While for hit secure, but the Warden's cage is actually being anti-synergy, okay? It's anti-synergy because
Anti-synergistic, yes.
that one, that's the word, college words. So if the cage is set up right and the warden's on the outside, just yoink people in like yo-yos and rubber bands, and everybody gets sucked in, and the ring has already been lined up for where everybody was sleeping. So when you put the ring down and everybody gets sucked into the center of the ring, it doesn't root anybody. And even if you're cocooned, if the ring doesn't land, that's still a lot of damage that you're missing. So maybe they can button that up here in the later stages of the game. As Cocoon comes out on Diablo, Fox gets hit by a pretty nasty CC chain, but the sleep out from Deckard looks to pretty much repel everything. As Killer Fry also looks like they're going to make it out, eating a little bit of combustion damage as they're getting pushed back to their keep.
Yeah, the cleanup crew is here, though, for Pigeon Stitches, so it looks like it's just going to be the top two forts. As we do see the members of Azmo Carry rotating down in, and they're going to look to put some damage onto this this final fort for the members of Pigeon Stitches. But really nice win overall here for Azmo Carry. We'll have to see if they want to engage here. It looks like they're diving in deep after this B-Train.
An aggressive Brightwing Bomb coming out. The lick onto the backside from Avian as the big turnaround damage in the Warden's cage after the Deckard root onto two. Fox is resetting on Decon and A-Dubs. Absolutely out of their minds. But the lick into the back from Black and Avian on Sylvanas negated all the damage follow-up during that dive. So great job from Dahaka. Pretty much securing that fight for their team after the impeccable combo from Deckard, Maiev, and Diablo. Sealed the deal, and they have their defense complete. They did lose all their forts, all their outer layers of defense are gone, so they will have catapult pressure coming through for every couple minion waves, but they're still alive. They're on talent tier, and 6 kills to 8. They're by no means super far behind in this game.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty close game right now. It's just that top fort that really is the difference right now. 6 to 8 on the kill counts. And you mentioned it, the combo potential is great from Pigeon Stitches. They just haven't quite been able to sync up those abilities. A little bit too much of the, too many chiefs, not enough Indians in terms of how to set these combos up. So if they can just have one point of start for these team fights, and then everything else is to follow up in zone, I think they'll do a lot better. But in comes the face checks from Azmo Carry. But right now, Pigeon Stitch is going to go ahead and walk away and not look to force the fight here.
Yeah, everybody's kind of posturing around this boss that's pretty much going to do nothing if you capture it. So we see the rotation out from Pigeon Stitches, and a boss onto a bear keep is still a pretty impressive amount of lane control. I don't think at this point it's going to just 1v1 just take the keep, but it's still added lane pressure. So nobody taking a boss is fine. Dahaka's got the global. You can soak the top lane out. But I think if you're Azmo Carry, you want to try to make that global come down, as they have their own global here with the Brightwing. So you need to force that burrow.
Yeah, looks like they're going to start to poke in onto it here. They've got a lot of good poke damage, but the force is not too bad. It looks like they are going to go ahead and send Sylvanas to the bot. Actually, Jaina, a little bit of an over pursuit there in the bottom lane, but Azmo Carry going to stay in here and not really force anything down there. But Black and Avian is getting a little bit of value up in the top lane, gets the well down, and still kind of slow playing this. Pigeon Stitches, we saw this a lot from them in the last game. They're not too over eager to force fights, and they're okay with just kind of playing it slow as long as they're getting some sort of advantage out of it.
Yeah, and right now, even with the global pressure top, they're still falling behind in XP. And hopefully the Dahako, the burrow is coming in onto the top side, and Noob just burns the burrow charge as the Cocoon comes out onto Diablo this time. Ring is only going to hit onto a Noobrack. TikTok through onto Jane is going to pull her back. Warden's cage is down. Mind control hits as well. Maiev not able to get the resets as the turnaround lightning breath from Diablo. 2 kills for 1 in the favor of Azmo Carry as Diablo doesn't have souls. The big stay a while hits 3. Brightwing not able to save anybody. Blaze making it out with 300 HP. Decon, however, is going to fall, but Sylvanas, I make the poopy, is cleaning up with 128 stacks on that Shadow Dagger. That damage just melted through what was left of Jaina. And now, we see that turnaround from Azmo carry, and it looks like they're going to take this objective. They're up half a level. And I feel like you have one chance to defend this if you're Pigeon Stitches to fight back on this, but it looks kind of grim.
Yeah, what a fight coming in there from Azmo carry. It looked kind of bad at the start. They lost their Anubarak early, but we saw 2 fall on the other side, so they were able to capitalize off the back end of that. But yeah, you mentioned it. They're going to be able to come in and defend this with their full 5 stack. Azmo carry going to be back right around the same time, except the one they're really waiting on is Brightwing, who's going to have the instant global in as soon as she spawns. So should be interesting to see. They're not pushing in quite enough to stop this just yet, but they got a lot of poke here from Chromie to be able to try to deny this.
Yeah, and while a hero is capping that objective back, it does stop the timer. Minions can capture it back as well, but they don't stop the timer. It requires a hero to be channeling it. So we see 15 seconds left on the timer versus 50 for Pigeon Stitches, but they live to fight another day. They're down about a half a level, and if they want any chance, they're going to have to force the fight against Azmo carry before level 20 hits, as it looks like Blaze has dropped. And yeah, we do have a pause coming out, so it will be just a moment. We'll see. It looks like he popped back in. His name is still Blank Eclipse, but we'll see what we get. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
it looks like somebody did indeed DC there.
Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and move this on over and have a small little pause here. But I think right now, if you are Pigeon Stitches, you have to force this fight before 20. They don't have a chance of getting 20 on even tiers. So it looks like actually we're gonna get back into this. So we are gonna
all right
head back in. That was pretty quick. If there's ever a DC that we would have wanted, that would have been it.
Yeah, there it is. And it looks like they are looking to force Fry, even charging Anubarak. That kind of splits him up from the rest of the team, though. 3-man tether, and they are looking to follow it up as well. But a nice Emerald win to zone out from Deconnect there. But Dahaka gets blown up by the Chromie damage. Death Child area getting very low on the backside, too, trying to back away. Polymorph going to come in. A-Dub's not quite finding it, but the Chromie cleaning up again. 2 kills coming in here for Showstopper. He is stopping the show for sure right now as Killer Fry having to zone out of the top, and Azmo carry looking like they might be taking us to a game number 3 here right about now, B-Train.
Yeah, Chromie coming in with the TikTok, hitting the ding-dong delete button, dropping just bodies left and right. And I think, honestly, that team fight, you have to take the one pre-20. It didn't work out. You have lots of wave clear. You can defend. You will lose a keep here. Top keep is probably a foregone conclusion. Bottom, if they push it hard enough with the Sylvanas, likely gone as well. And I think at this point, you just have to hold on. You have to get your 20s. You have to stay poised if you're Pigeon Stitches. You have fights left, and Diablo now has souls. So, actually, Rewind coming through from A-Dubs on the Anubarak, getting the double burrow charge. Fox is falling incredibly low. The sleep from Deckard interrupted by Cocoon. Slava now in a terrible position trying to get out of dodge. And Blaze and A-Dubs also retreating. No kills in this huge fight.
And Mind Control coming out on the Killer Fry. We're also going to have him being hit by the Time Loop, and that's going to be enough to take him out. They are just exchanging his souls. That's another big win there for Azmo carry. They get the pick. They get the bottom keep. Mid keep going down now. Top keep already gone. So triple keep now are the members of Pigeon Stitches. And can they continue this defense?
I don't know. Oh man, it looks like Killer Fry is going to go down. The last auto coming through. They're going to get the ring combo out yet again, whiffing, hitting only Sylvanas. That is game. The core gets just absolutely deleted. All 3 keeps. And we're going to go to game number 3 between these two teams. That late game just turned up to 11 for Azmo carry.
One thing I will mention is a nice adjustment there from I Make to Poopy. Going with the Shadow Dagger build, so but changing to the level 13, where it's got a little bit of extra armor shred there to really enable those blow ups. I think the Chromie gets a lot of the value there from all the damage that they put up, but that's one thing that doesn't really show on the stat sheet is when those daggers are out there and that armor shred is active. They got a lot more blow ups after that level 13 was picked up. That's kind of where they started to shift. So a little bit different from that build that he went game one. Nice adjustment there, and just overall great team fighting, as you said, in that late game where they just turned it up and were able to finish off Pigeon Stitches. And I'm always happy when we got a showdown going to game three.
Yeah, and I think the Chromie damage in the late game is something I'm not used to seeing as much of since her rework, but she was doing a very respectable amount of damage. I didn't see what the Sylvanas stacks got up to either. Um, but it was pretty high. Last time I checked, it was around like 140ish, I believe. So at least 150, I think we're getting from our observer. Which also pointed out there is a fun fact: the coding for the null camps on Alterac are actually coded as Firebat camps from Braxis. So, laziness on Blizzard, perhaps.
I love it, and really, yeah, they function the same. That armor shred mechanic, super strong, but wasn't actually as big a factor in that matchup. A lot of it just came down to the team fighting, but overall, really great set so far from these two teams. And this is what I really like. We go into this game three. I honestly have no idea who's going to win this B train. This could definitely go to either team.
Yeah, I think the best thing to have is a best of three series because or a 3 game series in a best of three. Obviously, we see with some like HGC whenever we would see like the best of 7 series, they always develop an internal meta. But with a best of three, you don't often get that, especially if it's a 2-0. So I think the main thing here is with the third game coming up, you've seen the Anubarak win both games so far. Obviously, both teams enjoy playing with the hero. I wonder if we're gonna see a little bit of adjustment in the bans from Azmo carry, even though they won that game, or if we see them from Pigeon Stitches as well, trying to really lock it down as far as like the Anubarak control, because it looks like Pigeon Stitches will actually have first pick this game, as the map was picked. It is Volskaya Foundry for Azmo carry.
Now, Volskaya Foundry, a little bit of a change up from these two maps that we had before, where it's a lot more team fighting and it's time pressure. It's time sensitive. You can't just wait forever for these map objectives to be done and ready to go. Once you get to that overtime, you have to go fight it and you have to stay on that point. Otherwise, you're going to lose the Punisher or the Protector. And the Protector really is one of the strongest mechanics in the game. Like all of the other map objectives, it's a little bit weaker in the early game, but it scales incredibly hard into the late game where you really just can't team fight into the thing like, post level 16.
Well, I mean, these protectors, even in the early games, it's kind of a. I remember when it came out, the big term thrown around was it's a player killer. Like it's a controlled, armored objective with 3 full abilities for each position in the summon. And it's got 2 seats, so you have 2 players who can coordinate shielding for their own team. Lots of damage output. They can turn off structures. It has mobility. The thing just leaps at people. It is truly it's a unique objective. A lot of the times on like BOE, when your team is down, you say, "Oh, let's fight behind the objective" or something like that, because the objective is an NPC. It just pushes, and that's what it does. On Volskaya, fighting behind it is an entirely different beast because it's player controlled and it has aspects that work very well with team fighting. So you can't really just gun these things down from underneath them. You really have to be very evasive. You have to dodge the skill shots. And these things have armor and a very high health pool. So getting them down, especially in the late game, is no easy task.
Yeah, looks like we are about ready to go. Everybody in the lobby here. Um, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how these teams want to adjust here. We've seen 2 games come out with the Sylvanas here. Is that something that maybe the side of Pigeon Stitches want to try to deny here for game number 3? Do they continue to try and play the Maiev? I feel like like you said, there was a little counter synergy in the team fighting the last game, so we'll have to see if they maybe want to try to go with that again, or is an Uberak really the answer here? Both of these teams have had an Uberak in game 1 and 2, and whoever's had the Uberak has been the winner.
Yeah, Anub 100% win rate in this set, which could be why Pigeon Stitches elected to go with first pick.
Yeah.
I know a lot of teams don't feel as though they're super strong on one map over the other. So there's teams out there that just say, we want, like if they have the choice, they always take first pick. There are teams that just love having it because they have certain power heroes that they play well with that they don't want to see target banned out later in the draft, but they don't want to ban it themselves because they'd like to play it. Anubrak, I feel, is one of those heroes that very commonly you have in that position. As we're going to see the Jaina ban, which I believe Pigeon Stitches banned in game 1. So it seems like they ban their first pick of every game. They pick the Alarak early, then they banned it the next game. They pick the Jaina, and then they banned it the next game. So an interesting pattern. It obviously probably means not as much as we're reading into it, but we'll see if the Johanna ban is still the go-to for Azmo carry here.
Yeah, it is going to be Johanna banned out. And again, she's very good on this map. Good zoning tool. Also counters a lot of AA heroes that people like to play on this map for the sustained damage. So we'll see. Now the big question for Pigeon Stitches is: are they going to let the Sylvanas through? Are they going to continue to ban out more meta style heroes? What are they going to use here for their last ban?
I'm unsure.
Alarak maybe again.
They keep going with the Arthas ban against. I've thought it was I Make the Poopy that plays it, but it's been on Sylvanas both games. I'm not sure how locked in they are with their roles. I know some teams are very stingy about their roles. As we see the Anubarak ban, Imperious is let through from Azmo carry.
And there is the instant lock for Fox Alarak. We saw him there in game 1 be very impactful on that hero, so not surprised at all to see him come out here in this matchup.
Alarak, and Sylvanas getting through again, you talked about it before. She stacks extremely well on this map. There are forced fights in locations on the point as Imperious comes through for Azmo carry, and they lock the Chromie as well. That'll be interesting to see. Chromie, obviously a skill shot hero. Imperious, one of the big pairings I've seen with Imperious, right, is you get the Tyrande or like a Stukov as far as your supports go, because Imperious gets that big double, like a spear, he hits however many heroes, but it locks them into place, right? And you can have that CC follow-up easy as, I mean, it's easy as 1, 2, 3, you just click the buttons, and then the damage follow-up is just as easy. So I feel like Imperious sets up a lot for a lot more skill shot oriented heroes. And then on the other side, with the Stitches now looking to kind of have a more pick oriented comp, I think that'll help a lot because, if someone gets hooked, right, Imperious can turn around with that spear and just kind of reverse that team fight with that CC engage. And that could be disastrous for Pigeon Stitches.
And we will see the Medivh band coming out here, so the side of Azmo carry not wanting to see that kidnap comp coming in from Pigeon Stitches. So we'll have to see what exactly they want to build off the back end of this. They've got really good CC setup with the follow-up from Chromie. We saw Showstopper just dominating a lot of the later game after the scaling was complete for him as well with all that damage. And the Stukov band out. Pretty interesting from Pigeon Stitches putting the Stukov as the healer chokehold here.
Yeah, and we see Blaze. Okay, so that's 3 games in a row. They pick Brightwing every game. It's not been taken away from them. And I feel like now with an ETC who is absolutely fantastic at peeling, I've always regarded ETC as one of the best peeling tanks in the business. He's got a shallow health pool, but right now with Alarak Junkrat, there's burst that can come out, but there's not a lot of sustained damage to keep ETC on the back foot. So we could see some pretty nice combos from the ETC. The Chromie damage the Imperious, like they have a lot of CC. So this last pick that comes out here, I would like to just see a sustained damage dealer from Azmo carry. But, at the end of the day, they look good already. The only thing maybe they're lacking is a little bit of wave clear. And now we have Tychus.
Yeah, so quite a lot of follow up potential damage from that ETC Imperius. We'll just have to see how well they're able to actually get onto the members of Pigeon Stitches here. It seems like they're going to play more of the patient game, trying to pull members in, isolate them one at a time. But I don't know how effective that strategy is going to be specifically here on Volskaya Foundry, because you really want to be able to have the point control and pressure to be able to dominate and control these points. And if you can get an isolative kill, that can allow you to take the 5v4 onto the point. But if you miss it, then there's really just not a whole lot else your comp can do at that point.
Yeah, and I think Stitches is kind of one of those newfound counters to mages like Chromie and Kel'Thuzad, who have to sit still when they use their combos. Excuse me, and I feel, and even Mephisto, we've seen him kind of as like a pseudo counter, and I think one of the big things that we commonly see is when Chromie goes for that combo and she does sit still, that she is easily hooked. And we're going to go and introduce these teams. B stepping away is Black and Avian on the Blaze. Killer Fry on Stitches this game. Fox on the Alarak again. Slava on Deckard for round number 2. And Deathchild area rounding it out on Junkrat yet again. On the left, it is Pigeon Stitches.
And on the right, Azmo carry looking to complete the reverse sweep. We've got A-dubs on the Imperius. I make the poopy on ETC. Showstopper on Chromie. Blank Eclipse on Tychus. And Deconnect on the Brightwing.
And we're going to go ahead and pretty much get what I expected out from Azmo carry. Burn the Impure. Prog Rock. Once again for the first time from Chromie. The biggest one that's interesting to me is Press the Advantage, which the run and gun, the E ability from Tychus, increases his basic attack range. So, not looking to go into the Globe Quest, which gives you an increased dash range and move speed, which kind of helps when you're chasing a lot, if you're kind of playing on the front foot with Tychus. But, on the vice versa, getting the increased attack range means he can play a little bit safer, and with the reduced hook range for Stitches until level 16, that could gather quite a bit of value, as while Tychus is trying to burn down one of those tanks with that minigun, he will be standing stationary.
Yeah, right away, the rotation coming out here from Pigeon Stitches onto their camp. So they're prioritizing that nice and early, which I really love on this map. If you can control the toys on this map, you can give yourself a really big advantage when the control point fights come in.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I always point out when I'm casting divisions, is that you always want to take the turret camps at minute 1 instantly. Like, you want to have someone there when they spawn practically, because when you take them that early and the first objective spawns, right? It spawns in the middle of that center point. Both of those turrets, if you take them instantly, will respawn during that first control phase. So each team has the potential for having 2 turrets to their name, at minimum, if they just kind of play their cards right in the macro control. And we saw both teams pick those up instantly. It's fantastic to see. The rotations are kind of wonky. We have 3 bottom right now, with both of the assassins sitting mid and top for Pigeon Stitches. But nonetheless, Stitches and Deckard are going to go frolicking off to find their friends and hopefully get some kills while they're at it.
Yeah, and everybody getting the customary soak here early in the game, so nobody missing out on too much XP anywhere. They're overall doing a very nice job in the opening set here. I'll have to see if either team wants to prioritize grabbing their back camps. It looks like that's exactly where Pigeon Stitches is going to go. So they'll have this pushing in the top lane while the control point A is being contested here in the early part of our first map objective phase.
Killer Fry, please continue the road you are on. Look at that level 4. We have Chop Chop coming out, getting the attack speed for Stitches, which goes very well with his level 7, where he has percent-based healing on his auto attacks. So looking to be able to kind of trade out, getting a lot of self-healing with those autos. And into Tychus, that's still pretty... I mean, it helps. You have the percent healing, but Tychus with minigun now going into In the Rhythm. Stitches can auto all he wants, but if minigun is up and you get that long duration with the In the Rhythm stacking up, it's going to be absolutely impossible to get value more than the Tychus minigun will.
Yeah, early point grab here by Pigeon Stitches, so they are owning the point right now, looking to try and find a hook there as Killer Fry, but can't quite find anyone. One-man root, but the combo is good on the follow-up there from iDubbbz, but look at the charge in. Fox taking all kinds of damage there. Gonna have to back up as the members of Azmo Carry were ready to pounce there, B-Train.
Yeah, and with a pick composition, getting hard engaged on is the last thing you really want, as Stitches falling low with so much percent damage coming through from Imperius and Tychus. That's going to be disastrous. Also, by the way, shout out to the Team Nut banner. A personal favorite of mine is another camp invade coming through from Azmo Carry. Black and Avian gets deleted. Junkrat controlling the point, but Brightwing not going to get booped off, as taking your camp gives you a second turret, but taking the opponent's camp also gives you a second turret, and it denies your opponent their own. So an aggressive move from Azmo Carry, looking pretty confident here with their composition, not afraid of the pick potential from Pigeon Stitches, who is now relying this game on their Lord and Savior Stitches.
Yeah, really living up to their namesake, but in comes the spear from aDubbbz, and a nice slide follow-up as well off the back end of that Fox, getting focused on very hard, and just not quite enough frontline zoning there from Pigeon Stitches. So we're going to see what was an early advantage from them on this point. Azmo Carry wins a couple of big team fights on that objective and gets a second kill onto Stitches as well. And they're going to be seeing now a protector coming out here in the mid as they start to siege up.
Yeah, and with Stitches down, Junkrat is your only real range damage. How do you defend this protector? Junkrat falling really low to Imperius, doing so much damage with that percent damage. I think this is a very hard defense. Deathchild has to be careful here. One of those gunner Qs could delete what is left of Junkrat's health bar. As we see a level 9 to 8.5 advantage, and this protector is still 58% health. They're going to run out of time before it dies.
Yeah, we are going to see them going after the well here, so nice gets here from this first protector phase. We do see a nice shield coming out, though, from the protector. Going to help the members of Azmo Carry push. We do see the Blaze still split off in bottom lane, getting that extra XP in response, but Azmo Carry going to be able to duck out of here and not overstay, and even a little bit of time trap shenanigans there to help them escape in this situation.
Yeah, Chromie going into the Anderhall anomaly yet again, as we do see the auto attack cannibalize build out from Stitches. Every hero hit by the inner section of the slam or his auto attacks heals him for 2% of his max health. So we'll be able to have a lot of sustain while auto attacking. So maybe if Tychus isn't present, Stitches could theoretically trade into the protector. But at the end of the day, you know, if you're using Stitches as an auto attack tank, as the good knockback onto the objective, as we're getting a fight pre-level 10, Fox is going to fall extremely low, does go down. Identify is completed by Decker, but the health bar is looking quite low for both of these teams. However, Killer Fry looking immortal as long as he's auto attacking. They're able to trade 1-for-1 pre-10, or 1-for-0, excuse me. Azmo Carry didn't lose anyone, but they elected to start backing off of that point and give up the healing pack so that they could get back to the map control and soak, realizing, you know, maybe it's not that worth it here.
Yeah, there are a lot of those isolated tools that were about to come off of cooldown for the members of Pigeon Stitches, so they didn't want to see anyone get caught out and not be able to find this here. So we'll be interested to see exactly where these teams are gonna try to, if they're gonna try and do anything to force a fight before this next objective. We got control point B up in the top, and Azmo Carry's got a nice advantage with their well intact up here. Not to mention, you know, a fort that is very, very healthy and easy to fall back to for defense if things don't go too well in the early parts of this fighting phase.
And the fountain is still available for Azmo Carry. That is one of the biggest things about the first protector, right? Is if you win it, you want to be able to get a little bit of value mid, which they did. They got the whole wall. And then they were able to take a top lane, and the main focus point is you can honestly just sidewall and get that fountain down. The fountain is a huge resource for these control points. The ability to back up and tap instead of having to rip an entire hearth is very valuable, and it cuts a lot of time down. And without that ability now, they're going to be forced to win their fight early or just give up the Protector as a whole, which is worst case scenario, especially with his hard of a time they had defending the first one. And without Gorge, we do see Bunkered this game, no combustion. We see Lornado, Riptire, Bile, and Counter-Strike coming out. They have a little bit better defensive abilities, a little bit better peel with the Bile and the Bunker and the Lornado. But ultimately, I think the hardest thing for them is their ability to defend the Protector once it is taken.
Huge isolation here. And even trying to get him with the mosh, but not quite finding Black and Avian as he goes ahead and speeds his way on up to his team. Gonna find himself some Gatorades up here in the top, get healed up, and even the Scroll of Sealing gonna try and zone out the members of Azmo Carry to start this off.
And if Blaze saw that and communicated with his team that Mosh Pit is now down, that is a huge weight off your shoulders, as the healing pack was committed to for a turret, while I believe Pigeon Stitches is still the only team with an item. They have one turret left in their name. Level 13 will hit Azmo Carry before Pigeon Stitches, but Mosh Pit still on cooldown for another 80 seconds. They're going to get the hook into Imperious. The root comes out onto ETC, not able to get the zone turnaround. Wrath of the Angiris is popped. They're going to get the big double spear combo, and Lornado zoning out the rest as Deckard Kane is stuck on the point, meleeing ETC. As Blaze falls, Deckard does get the kill secure on the ETC. The Protector goes over to the blue team. Pigeon Stitches turns this fight around. Blank Eclipse could be the next to fall, but instead it looks like Deckard and Stitches are going to hop into this Protector, and without even waiting for a minion wave, they're just going to go ahead and throw this bad boy against the towers and the Tychus minigun.
Yeah, they go ahead and kill the top turret, shut down the bottom one. They're still getting pretty good value out of it, but you're right, the Tychus has very good shred on it, already taking it down. And good anti-siege overall, because Chromie's going to deal a lot of damage to this too from a pretty safe distance, and they could be trying to punish Blank Eclipse a little bit there by putting damage on him, but Fox, I think, has been blown up enough this game that he's not too eager to dive into this squad over on the side of Azmo Carry.
Yeah, and we see the Protector, obviously, if you didn't know, we were quoting the Tychus ability to burn it down. The Protector counts as a hero. It's manned by heroes. It does stack quests that require you to hit heroes, like in the Rhythm for Tychus, which, while hitting heroes, burns % of their maximum health. That's why it is so good at shredding the Protector. And Chromie also stacks off of it. She's already completed as we're going to see the big combo out with the solo Mosh Pit onto Alarak, who does go down without Stitches or Deckard. Oh my goodness, the snipe with the swords from A-Dubs getting serious on Imperious. That was fantastic, looking like almost like Li Ming missiles. I didn't realize how much damage that was actually going to do there.
Yeah, Junkrat with a pretty low health pool overall, so nice target there from iDubbbz. Not to mention, a great call on the solo Mosh Pit. I think not enough ETC's players... Oh, look at out. Speaking of the ETC players, slide in, and Deckard Kane going to get caught out. And this is a moment where Pigeon Stitches, I think, is starting to lose a little bit of their composure in this matchup. They had the game one domination, and game two was kind of back and forth, but eventually went over the way of Azmo Carry. And I don't know, it's going to test their composure to see if they can get out here. But like I was saying, I make the poopy with that one-man Mosh Pit. Not many ETCs willing to rip that, but it could be a big difference maker in a lot of those situations. So I really like it. It didn't work the first time, but it came right back to it.
And I think Killer Fry might just be cooked here. And it's going to fall. Not enough self-healing with Chop Chop, with Cannibalize. As Tychus wasn't even here, they were able to just shred through Stitches, who is a pretty chunky boy. And we see the Alarak 13 coming on. We see pure malice, so really entrusting his teammates with feeding a certain amount to get the maximum value out of the sadism talent at 13. And I want to talk about some interesting anti-synergy that we see a lot of the time with Tychus. In the Rhythm, increases the duration of your minigun. So it does stack, I believe, indefinitely. I've had it up to 500 stacks before, which leads to about a 25-second minigun. So taking That's the Stuff at 13 heals Tychus for 100% of the bonus damage it deals after expiring. So if you have a longer minigun, say your minigun lasts 20 seconds, it's going to take you all that time to get the healing back from That's the Stuff. So you're actually not even going to get the healing before it kills you, or before the enemy team kills you potentially. As we see Riptire coming out, separating A-Dubbbz, who has about 400 HP but is going to survive as Blaze comes in with a huge stun onto Showstopper, but it looks like everyone is going to walk away. 16s are online, but the kill advantage is 10-2 for Azmo carry.
Yeah, a lot of times Imperious players will tell me that the spear is a really big deal because of the extra mobility it gives. A lot of times I would scoff at him, but I gotta give credit to A-Dubs there. That may have been the difference between him making out in that situation, making it out of that situation, and actually getting killed there, as he did use that spear to get away from those Junkrat grenades. We are going to see the members of Azmo carry rotating in. Smart, quick rotation, as they saw multiple members of Pigeon Stitches down in the bot lane. We're going to go ahead and take away the fort in mid.
Blaze with the pickup on Juggernaut plating will absorb, has 50 spell armor, and upon expiration, which is 3 seconds long, gains a shield equal to 125% of spell damage that was taken. So if he's thinking he's going to get hit by a humongous Chromie combo, can pop that Juggernaut plating and get a shield as they hook in the ETC, hit him with the silence and lots of damage, but no kill, as the triple spear from A-Dubs after the Brightwing Emerald win. And now everybody's trying to run backwards on these treadmills. Odin gets popped on the bottom side, looking like a delivery service. Somebody called Uber Eats, and they got a Tychus. Blaze is going to get the stun out onto A-Dubs in the bottom. Blank Eclipse, however, is 1v4ing with the Odin, and at the end of the day, it's actually a 1-0 trade in favor of Pigeon Stitches right now.
Yeah, we will see Blaze going down as well on the bottom end of that, but Brightwing also going to fall. So we do have the 1-for-2 exchange, and A-Dub's going to have to try and conveyor belt his way out, able to just dodge everything there to make his way on out of this situation. But we are going to see Pigeon Stitches able to cap the point here. But I don't think they'll be able to get this before we can see Azmo carry come back in. We got Tychus in 17. Brightwing's timer a little bit longer, but we'll have the TP to be able to get in with that global.
One of the benefits of having a global on your side, and we're actually going to see the camp invade.
Ooh.
If they get this kill on the Showstopper, that's huge, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to secure it. Alarak forced to burn the Counter-Strike, getting hit by lots of Chromie damage here, but they want to get this turret, and they want to get out of here, as Fox is taking a lot of damage, and there's a huge wave mounting top against Pigeon Stitches.
Now we will see the TP coming in, and that top is taking a lot of pressure, but also under pressure here. 10% left on the charge. Azmo carry's got to get in here. They start to get on the conveyor belt. Hook going to come in on I make the poopy, but it's too late for them to get on the point. It will be capped here, and the instant interrupt there onto the mosh pit. Gonna proc the retreat here from Azmo carry. They do make it out all alive, but we are going to see the protector coming out here for Pigeon Stitches.
And Stitches, by the way, extremely quick to click into that protector, dodge the mosh pit with it, was definitely caught in that. We see the protector already sitting at front of the HP. 47. It's just getting absolutely destroyed by Azmo carry with the frag grenade damage from Tychus, with Titan Killer online. Chromie's damage in general. Minigun Tychus just stepping up to this thing. There is zero fear from Azmo carry.
Yeah, gonna get that healing back eventually, like you said, from the 13. But the protector gets shredded there. Great defense. I make the poopy. Gonna go in, and a big charge by Imperious as well. They're gonna find the pick onto Junkrat. Alarak gonna go down. Blaze to follow. Killer Fry trying to walk out of this. Gonna go ahead and pop his ult to try and slow everybody down, but it's not gonna be enough to save Deckard. And all of a sudden, just when he thought Pigeon Stitches was starting to get control of this game, the seesaw goes back over to Azmo carry, and it looks like they're marching in towards the mid-keep here. They may try to end B-Train.
They can try to end. Odin is up, and it is ready to go. Chromie does a respectable amount of siege damage now after her rework, which is something I never imagined myself saying in my entire Heroes of the Storm career. But they can knock this mid-keep down, and they will be still 1v4 for about 10 seconds more. I don't know if they're going to go for it here. They'll probably just back up, look to take a couple of camps, take the healing pack potentially. They have level 20s first, and if we're looking at the level 20s, fighting on these points is already a pain, especially the bottom one. I don't think we're going to get there again, but we have the team shielding, or excuse me, the team shielding for Imperious, so about a 1300 shield that he can put on all of his allies. We have Torbus, which is a pretty unique mosh upgrade. ETCs will sometimes pop a mosh in the middle of nowhere. so that it looks like it got 0 value, and then they'll power slide in afterwards, which also does increase the duration. We do have Piercing Sands coming out from Chromie, not the team cooldown reduction. Sizzling attacks from Tychus looking to do percent damage on all of his autos as Poopy's going to get hooked in. Mosh Pit is going to get interrupted by the Junkrat Mine, put on full cooldown as Decon gets put on the wrong side of the wall. The Deckard Lornado gets the huge CC out onto Showstopper, and down goes Chromie.
I have never seen a Lornado get that much value in a choke like that before. Blank Eclipse gonna get blown up on the Tychus as well. And Seesaw indeed betraying Pigeon Stitches with a much needed team fight. They're gonna find D-Connect on the wrong end of that conveyor belt. Tried to go out the wrong way, but the fort is still there, my friend. Now a 3-for-0 for the side of Pigeon Stitches, and what can they get out of it?
So it looks like we're gonna get a pause. Of course, the old Zuna trick, or the old Prismat trick here. A little bit of internet issues after feeding, of course.
We think that that's probably the truth.
It's probably serious, because that fight looked absolutely disconjointed, and with the 20 advantage, that went way the opposite of what it should have. So,
right.
Obviously, that's unfortunate, but I don't think it's too condemning. The natural siege potential of Pigeon Stitches isn't too robust. Junkrat, not extremely stacked up yet, doesn't have Cannonball at 20, so the siege potential is a little limited. And I think, while we're waiting, I'll go ahead and flip us back to our map screen. But I think for the most part right now, you're going to have everybody come back alive. I don't even think they're going to lose a keep here for Azmo carry. I think it'll... And of course, as soon as I switch overlays, it looks like we might be all right, of course.
You know, you wanted it to be a quick pause, and so you knew the minute you switched that they would unpause. So really, you're just doing a service to the stream. We're getting things rolling back.
Yeah, there we go. It's like when you complain about your Hero League queues that they're taking too long, because the moment you complain, they come right back.
There it is. All right, so now Camp stolen here on their way to this bottom keep. Still quite a long while until we have Tychus and Brightwing up here, so we'll see what Pigeon Stitches wants to do with this. Their siege also not exactly the fastest, so they are going to be able to take down this keep for free. They're going to look at the death timers, and I think they're going to walk away. Yeah, they're going to hit the B button as bit of a pile of minions coming in towards the mid, and the top keep also being pressured a little bit here.
I didn't notice that the keep wall was down in the bottom lane. I guess I must have just overlooked that. When they got the push bottom with the protector, I originally didn't think it was down, which is why I didn't think they would be able to take a keep there. But nonetheless, the middle point has spawned. Junkrat is top clearing, but with Ripper Air can be here in an instant. The top pressure will be good here for Azmo carry, but I think ultimately they're going to have to step up and kind of take this fight, and I don't think you want to take it so late that you're forced to commit. I think if it does go south, you want to be able to get everybody out to defend, because they can potentially still defend as long as Tychus is alive.
Right, they are kind of a hard engaged comp with the Tychus, but a lot of these potions are already on point. It could be a factor here. Charge in, Fox taking a ton of damage, does hit the counter strike. Polymorph going to follow up onto him, but a massive Riptire coming in from Deathchild area. They're going to split up the members and start to get some kills, but it's a 1-for-1 to start. Emerald Wind splitting them up. I make the Poopy with a 2-man mosh on the back end. They are going in hard here, and the Pierce coming in for Showstopper as well, getting all the damages out, and it's a bloodbath here. 4-for-1 exchange, B-Train.
There are no words that describe A-dubs on Imperius. How did you survive as long as you did? I need answers. I need you to text me right now, or I'm calling the cops. That was just criminal. A-dubs was sub 200 HP almost that entire time, was able to kill Alarak, held off Blaze so that ETC could get the mosh, and then Chromie coming through, Showstopper really stealing the show. That Pierce pretty much one-shot Deckard, and the patience on Poopy to hold the mosh that entire fight was actually fantastic. A lot of the times you see mosh ripped early, interrupted, and then you're like, oh, well, shoot, you know, there goes our fight turner. Poopy held it until everything had been used practically.
Yeah, so they do have 2 to be able to get into this. It's worth noting that they got lots of time. They've got 1 minute and 45 seconds on this protector. So we'll have to see if they want... Yeah, it looks like they are going to wait for everyone to come up They've got everyone now. They're going to figure out how they want to reshuffle the order of who they're going to put in this thing. And now they're going to make their march down the mid lane. Here we go.
There are 2 or 3 catapults mounting in the bottom lane against Azmo carry, so they are on somewhat of a clock if this does go south. That bottom lane is primed and ready to go for Pigeon Stitches. But this defense is going to have to be pretty impeccable with Chromie sitting way back, dropping the big damage. We're going to see Riptire coming out early for the Triglav, which is currently wailing away on the core. Fox falling low from all the Chromie damage. The shield is popped by Imperious. Chromie's super low in the back, but Killer Fry also falling low as the core is below 50%. The Protector is above 40. I think that's just going to do it. They don't have the damage. GG for Azmo carry, coming back with the reverse sweep against Pigeon Stitches. Wowzers.
Yeah, this right here is why we created showdowns, because a lot of these matchups are so even in these divisions. These epic matches go down to the late game. They're just so much fun to watch, and these teams did not disappoint here tonight. You got to give all the credit in the world to Pigeon Stitches. They looked really good in the first game. They came back after what was a tough game two for them. Felt like they kind of lost track of it there at the end, and they performed very well here in this game number 3. Took it right down to the end, and Azmo carry just able to outperform them just a bit here and take game number 3 and earn themselves a couple points here in the last week of play for regular season NGS.
Yeah, Azmo carry looking good with the turnaround reverse sweep on their map nonetheless. I think Pigeon Stitches did a fantastic job making some comebacks at certain points in the game, but just as quickly as they were able to claw their way back in, Azmo carry did the exact same thing on the other side. They took fights, they excelled in them, they held cooldowns, they positioned well, and they did a fantastic job. That last fight, I still wanted to point out how well I Make the Poopy did holding that mosh the entire time. That is still, I think, the most influential part of that fight, and that shows like true comfort and patience on a hero.
All right, so we got to take a look and see if we can get an interview here with team captain for the side of Azmo carry.
Do you want to reach out and see if we can get them in here, or
Yeah, I can do that.
just updating some of our scores? Also, want to take this moment while we have some downtime to give a shout out to our observer tonight, Falendrith, always covering all the action. Fantastic job. It worked tonight, which is awesome because it's not worked before. So having an observer is always like one of the best things as a caster to have. So huge shout outs to Falendrith, and thank you for doing such a fantastic job, even though you didn't really show us a lot of the secret parts of the map like I expected.
We can hope maybe for next time.
Yeah, but we're going to have a Tuesday night showdown. I'm just not even going to pick up a game. It's just going to be Falendrith taking us around all the maps, showing us the Easter eggs.
That could be the off season, you know. People still want something to watch, man.
Yeah, and that last game, I did want to point out, Chromie had 109,000 hero damage. That's insane. That's a lot of damage. I didn't know that her new rework was like it left her capable of doing that much damage. But with the full Sands build, the spell power, there's a car alarm going off outside. But yeah, Chromie did.
It was criminal. It was criminal. Hear the alarms.
Smooth criminal. Showstopper did a fantastic job putting out that damage, and we saw from Azmo carry, once they got the Chromie pick, they played kind of around Chromie, protected her, and even with their dive comp in game 2 with the Anubarak, Chromie was always following up damage impeccably, and that's, as a tank player, that's what makes you feel as good, man, is having your back line following up with damage where it needs to be, and getting those kills for you, because sometimes you can have the best tank in the world making the greatest engages, but if the damage isn't there, it's super painful to watch. And I think Azmo carry did a fantastic job keeping their composure, drafting to their strengths and their personal likes, and once they got the Chromie, they just kind of took it and ran with it.
All right, so it looks like we are going to get I make da poopy coming in here for an interview. Um,
Of course, it has to be poopy.
yeah, I mean it's got to be. You know,
It's got to be
it's
poopy.
high. That's high level. Um, there we go. All right, and I think I should be able to invite him into the call now.
I'm I'm so worried.
There we go.
What kind of shenanigans are we gonna get?
Well, you never know.
Oof. We shall see.
And we are now joined by I make da poopy. How you guys feeling after that big win?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. That was probably the best series that we've had uh, in the tournament to date. So yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, you guys looked good. I think one of the main things we wanted to point out is, obviously losing game one is always a rough start. I know my team especially, like we have a hard time losing a first game and keeping our composure. And as far as like your team played, you guys looked a little more comfortable. Once you got like the Chromie online, you changed up some picks. But like, what were the comms like after that first game, leading into the second one? What was like the focus?
I mean, the focus was essentially on like doing what we actually set out to do from the beginning, which has been kind of like um, our crux throughout the tournament. We'll go in with a really good plan, and then like one thing will lead to another, and we'll essentially pivot. Oftentimes during like pick ban, but whenever we've just like chosen something and like had like our contingency plans and just stuck to it, things have gone pretty well. So the comms after the first game were essentially just like that. Like here's the plan that we're going in with. Let's stick to it, and let's not try something like spicy at the last minute.
That always works. Playing to your strengths is one of the most important things, and I think a lot of it comes down to consistency. And like you guys said, if you came in with a plan and you got pigeonholed or you got pushed out of it, I think that shows kind of like the true test of a team to be able to lock that down during the games, as your focus is kind of like what went wrong, and your ability to like kind of
Yeah.
adapt and move forward. And I think you guys were like third in the standings. And after these 2 points, I'm not sure if it bumps you up or not. I could take a look, but how do you guys feel about playoffs coming up?
Pretty good. I think I can't remember who our final game is against, but we've played, I think, all of the top of the division, and we've had some like mixed results, but like the latter half of the season has definitely been a little bit stronger. We found some things like that we've put online that have worked really well for us in the back half too, that will like hopefully keep as like some comfort pocket things, pocket picks. So yeah, it feel pretty confident.
What do you got, Jay? I know you got something lurking in there.
I only have one question for you guys. I think it's the most important question to ask you guys in an
Yeah.
interview. Your guys' logo is a very powerful image.
That's a word for it. Yeah.
Who came up with that?
I think it was Matt who came up with the idea. Like I can't remember if it was Deconnect or Blank Eclipse who actually like created the thing. We had to pivot pretty hard. Um because we had a less family friendly initial
Mm-hmm.
team name and logo that like the like the mods of the tournament were actually super cool about and helped us. But yeah, I think it was Matt. It was Matt's idea, and then I think Dylan actually just went through the really hard effort of finding a picture of Jim Carrey and slapping it on Asmodan. But yeah, the Genesis isn't as inspired as you might hope it would be.
All right. Well, congratulations, guys. You played very well tonight, and definitely one of the most entertaining series that I've ever seen here in NGS. So it was a pleasure to get to watch you guys play. And before we let you go, do you have any shout outs you want to make?
I mean, well, shout out to you guys for like casting these. This is really cool to have casters for a lot of this, especially when people like will come in after the fact and like set aside time to cast vods and whatnot. And also as well as doing it live is just as cool. So appreciate that. Um, yeah, shout out to our team. They played really well. Shout out to Pigeon Stitches too. Like I said, like that was by far the best 3-game series that we had, and for as fun as it probably was to watch, it was just as fun, if not more, to play in. So hope we get more of those. It's always, yeah, it's nice to get dominations, but like if you're gonna have a best of 3, I hope that we have ones that are pretty close like that.
Absolutely.
All right. Go ahead, B Train. Take us out.
I was gonna say absolutely. Obviously, it's a pleasure to cast always. I thoroughly enjoy casting. I think I casted you guys earlier in the season, and I was just as ashamed then because you didn't pick Azmo. You didn't let him carry.
The whole thing was just a long con. We there was one game where we drew an Asmodan ban. I don't know if that was actually like coincidental or if it was because of the name, but or maybe that's, I shouldn't say that. People should ban Asmodan against us because we're really good on him. That's the plan.
Very well. Well, congratulations. This does bump you into second for the division. I just checked.
All right.
The team in second you're jockeying for does have a couple more matches to play, so you guys will kind of be wrestling for that. But obviously, thanks for the great series. Thanks for putting on one heck of a show, and good luck to you guys in the playoffs.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Yep. All right, Jay. So, as always, rounding out to the end of our stream after an electric series where lots of Chromie made it through and I was able to not say her nickname once. I want to turn
We
this
appreciate that.
Yeah. I want to turn this over to you for shout outs. You're not my normal caster for Tuesday Night Showdowns, but it was a pleasure to have you. And we got to rip some more casts sometime soon. So go ahead and, shout out to the people that don't know who you are, where you're at, even though most of them already know.
Yeah, you guys can find me pretty much everywhere at Jay's on Hots, Twitter, Twitch. I don't have the long range that B Train does on all these different applications, but overall, you can find me on all that stuff. And I've been working really hard this season on the NGS YouTube channel. You'll be able to find this VOD here in just a couple hours when we upload that, so you can keep your eyes peeled for that, along with all the Nexus Edge, Nexus Now, all the cool content that we do over on that channel. And just in general, I appreciate everybody coming out and watching NGS and having a good time with us. And I definitely think that he hit on a good point in that interview. This is why we do it. Is this feeling right here? Fun to watch, fun to cast, but also very fun for these teams to play. Be able to watch this back for years to come on what was one of their best matches. I know there are matches from season 4 that I played in that I have that feeling with. It's like, wow, that was such a fun series to play in, so back and forth, and it's worth documenting. It's worth having because we all love this hobby so much. We love this game, and we're gonna keep playing it for a long time. And yes, and coordinated play in general is the best way to do it. So thanks to everybody who puts us on, and all of the guys in the background. Philindrath coming in week after week, observing for us has been really great. To be able to have that extra added thing that allows us casters to do what we want to do. And I hope we can get more of that going on into season 7.
Absolutely. And as you guys already know, because my name is below, I'm BTrain704. I have a humongous list, and we're going to get right into it. So first off, BTrain704 for Twitch.tv. I stream Heroes. I'm going to be getting into a couple different things coming up. But if we're going to go ahead and start just listing them off, just bang, 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 bang. BTrain704 is also Snapchat, MySpace, Facebook, Tinder, Instagram, Grindr, Bumper, Bumbler, Tumblr, and my eBay. I'm trying to sell a trampoline, but since I live in Alaska, shipping is going to be really expensive. So if you're looking for a sweet deal, I'm your guy, but you got to pay for shipping because that's astronomical. Also, last but not least, I want to give a shout out to our observer, Philindrath, for showing me farmersonly.com so I can find the love of my life who also enjoys playing with bales of hay in the cornfield. So, Philindrath, thank you for that. That's going to be it for me tonight, guys, as well as Jason and the rest of the crew. Philindrath, thank you so much. Thank you to Pigeon, Stitches, and Azmo Carey for the wonderful series. And thank you to Nexus Gaming Series for expanding our Showdown nights. So, with that all being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to roll this outro, and we'll see you guys next time in the Nexus.